Good afternoon. How y'all doing today? You know what? That was actually really good energy, but I want some more. How are y'all doing today? Y'all, I am so excited to be here today. I think one of the biggest things that I was going through, even when I was getting ready to start and prepping for this, is that I'm just so excited that I'm here to help us, help us grow, for us to like live out our dreams. 4 years ago, at 2018, it was my first time going to TravelCon, and I'll explain more of that in a second. But to be here right now, to be able to be speaking on this stage right now is such a full circle moment, so I'm so glad that I get to do it with y'all. But y'all, we're gonna have a good time today. I'm gonna answer as many questions as I can, but I really do believe that like just the information and the tips that I give today, I truly believe is gonna help a lot of people in this room. So I'm excited. So this is from micro-influencer to full-time creator. I do want y'all to know, you see how it says entrepreneur in there? Please understand, and that's the first lesson, that this is entrepreneurship. This is a business, and we'll talk more about that in a little bit. So that's why, like, full-time creator sounds great, but entrepreneur sounds even better. So my name is Jeff Jenkins. Let's see how this works. Where do I go to make it turn? I'm hitting it. Oh, there we go. Oh, look how cute I look. He's getting it. It looked like it's coming together. Well, I'll keep talking. My name's Jeff Jenkins. I'm an award-winning content creator, travel blogger, entrepreneur, speaker, and I'm the founder of Chubby Diaries. That's my claim to fame. I help chubby people travel the world. Thank you, thank you. We're gonna see if we're gonna get this to work real quick, y'all. One thing I'm gonna talk about today, yeah, there we go. Boom, there you go. If you're not following me, oh, no, it's not there yet. There we go. I got a QR code. If you ain't following me, I love the likes. I love for y'all to keep communicating with me. There's a QR code so you can follow. If you learn something today or you hear something, I'd love for you to take a picture, tweet it out. Not tweet it out, but put it on Instagram. You can tweet it out as well. But my job today is to help y'all. I'm going to give as many gems as I can in this moment. So if you want to be an amen choir, I love amen choirs. So amen choirs is those amens and mms. I like mms. So give me some of those mms today if you got it, all right? So what we'll talk about today is my 10 game-changing tips to success. I'll have some bonus goodies, and then we'll get to your questions. One of the biggest things that I want to do today is actually do as much as I can. So I'm going to give like my first presentation, like my presentation is all about like the mindset. So I'm going to talk about mindset, and then I'll spend that last half of it answering questions. Y'all can ask as many questions as we can in that 30 minutes, and that'll be more so that step by step. So if you need that step by step guidance, that'll come. So we'll talk about mindset first, and then we'll get into the step by step stuff, because I really do believe that these 10 like tips will definitely help y'all. And then I'll give some bonus goodies. It ain't much, but it's like my books that I always recommend people read, and then some other stuff, and then we'll get to your questions. So who am I? Once again, I like putting award-winning travel expert, because that's what I am. I started Chubby Diaries in 2018. I've actually traveled to 40-plus countries now. I've been featured in Forbes 4 times, not 3 anymore. New York Times, Google, Washington Post. I'm telling y'all, I'm reading this for a reason, so stay with me. USA Today, Travel and Leisure, The Points Guy, and many more. I'm one of the founding members of Black Travel Alliance. We got a couple of them in here today. Love it, thank you. And I built a 6-figure brand, and you can too. And I really mean that. And one of them that's not on here, that I definitely have to that is one of the most proudest things to date for me is that Travel and Leisure named me one of the top 50 notable people in travel. So I'm in there with Anthony Bourdain and my icon, Steve Irwin, Samantha Brown, Kelly Edwards, Brian Kelly. And so that was such an honor to be in there. And I'll explain a little bit of that and why I feel like it just made it so magical. Oh, and I'm in there with Mickey Mouse. And I'm from Orlando. I'm from Orlando, Florida. I was born and raised in Orlando. I live in Austin now. But to be with the hometown hero, me and Mickey Mouse made the same list. So I'm happy about that. So I'm starting off with my team, and I'm going to go from the middle to the end. So in the middle is my friend who I love dearly. She's my executive assistant. Her name is Tani Garcia Grant. Tani and I actually used to teach together. And she was the dance director when I was the choir director. And she was having another baby and was like, hey, can I pick up some hours because I'm not working full-time anymore? And so she came on with me like 2 years ago. And it's just been incredible to have one of my friends along the ride with me. And then on to the, so yeah, it is your left. So my operations director, that's Genevieve Davis. She actually was an intern with me. She slid in my DMs and was like, hey, you need an intern? And I was like, yes, I do. And so for the last year of her college, she actually was interning with Chubby Diaries. And then she actually came on part-time. And now she is a full-time employee with Chubby Diaries. So I'm super excited to have her. My homie, Narita, she is our social media specialist. She actually has a full-time job and gets paid really well. And I'm very shocked that she was like, no, I really want to do more with y'all. And so having her on the team, she's the newest person on the team, it's going to be great. The stuff that we're planning to do is amazing. My operations coordinator, this is Eric. He's one of my best friends. He's actually helping me out with all my SOPs, which are like system operating procedures. We're trying to do all the onboarding, the HR stuff. So like we're really changing how Chubby Diaries is from being a blog to more of a traditional publication so we can sell this bad boy one day. And then on the end is my homie, my manager, Kamala. Actually, 2019 at TravelCon, she was here with my friend Kiki, the blonde abroad, and I was like, oh, who's this lady with you? And she's like, oh, this is my manager. So Kamala actually talked to me, and she actually helped me understand what a manager does and things like that. So even then, I made it in my mind that I was like, I'm going to have her as my manager one day. And 2 years later, she actually became my manager. She was excited. I was excited. So this is my team. Can y'all give it up for my team? So October 23rd, 2018, TravelCon was September of 2018. That's over 3 years ago. I started Chubby Diaries, like the website, and I really took it serious. Like TravelCon actually was the thing that propelled me to what I'm doing now. And so I really give all praise to Matt and his team and TravelCon for actually just the knowledge that I was able to learn in that time. Oh, all right, so I'm about to jump into the 10 tips. The way I'm doing the 10 tips, it goes like this. It's actually somebody, like they're literally my friends that I have learned something from, and like it's their knowledge that made me who I am today, or it's their knowledge that has helped me be successful. I'm a former teacher, and so I'm gonna give more of like a teacher presentation kind of thing. And so that you know, I also am going to put the slide. I'm gonna have the slide and then I'm gonna have my bullet points in it. So I just rather do it that way because I can't get the preview screen on here. So you'll actually just see my bullet points, but you're gonna learn a lot. So here we go. So dream big. I'm gonna start with myself because this is the question I ask people all the time. If you want to see somebody fold a little bit or get a little cringy or uncomfortable, ask them the question, do you dream big? So I'm going to ask y'all this question. Do y'all dream big? Oh, well, see, that's what I'm talking about. I like that. Well, I feel like if you're not dreaming big, you need to start now, and you need to give yourself permission to dream. I was reading this book called, and I think it was like Decoding the Secret. And I was like killing this book. I was just like going through it chapter by chapter. And it got to dreams, like the chapter of dreams. And I've been going through this book so long that I was like, oh, I know what it's going to tell me. And I put the book down, and it took me over 2 weeks to pick the book back up because I knew exactly what this book was going to talk about. It was going to tell me I stopped dreaming, which I was, and it's going to tell me about little Jeff. Like, little Jeff wanted to be an astronaut. Little Jeff wanted to be a neurosurgeon. Like, as kids, we dream really big. There is no limitations. But as we matriculate through, like, high school and on to college, we're taught to like work for people and things like that, and we're usually living out other people's dreams instead of our own. So with that being said, give yourself permission to dream. The second thing is dream big. So there's a book called The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. I'll have it on there for like recommended book reads. But he talks about dreaming big, and this is like the initial thing that you need to do so that you can actually get to the level that you want to be at. So he gets you out of your head. He wants you to dream really big. So if you wanted to make $10 million, he's going to tell you to times that by 10. And I remember the first time reading that, and I was like, oh, like that's a big number. But when you do that, it takes you out of your own limitations. So whatever your dreams are, I want you to times it by 10. Can y'all do that for me? And then as you have these dreams, then you have to believe that those dreams can actually happen for you. A lot of times people, and a lot of us in this room, we might be able to dream, but we be like, nah, that can't happen for me. Oh, that's only a fairy tale. That just wouldn't work. And so you have to give yourself permission to dream, and then you also have to believe that it can happen to you. And so once you get to that point, the most important thing for you to do is actually commit. So when you commit to these dreams, you're committing to the hardship. You're committing to the obstacles. You're committing to the wins and the lows. And a lot of people don't realize that. A lot of people underestimate how hard or how long it'll take to actually get to your dreams being fulfilled. But if you commit to it, you'll actually keep going. So, dream big. Number 2, riches are in the niches. And this is my boy, Roger Walker. He's the only non-travel person in here. He's the person that actually got me into entrepreneurship. He actually told me the first day I met him, I was like, oh, what do you do? He's like, nah, not much. And I was like, what you mean not much? And he was like, I do real estate investments, and I have a team, and I just sit home and take care of my daughter. And I was like, dang, I want to do that. But he was trying to show me, or he was explaining to me about entrepreneurship. And he said that he was the second, dumbest person to graduate from his school. And I don't know why he says that, but I like that he says it, meaning that, out of everybody to graduate, he had the second lowest GPA to graduate. And so I was like, well, he was like, and if I can do it, that means you can do it. So that really did something to my head and what I was going through. So the same for y'all. Know that, this entrepreneurship journey, it doesn't take you being the smartest person in the room. You just have to be the person that's brave enough to actually go for it. And so with riches are in the niches. He told me this from the beginning. Why do you think you need a niche? I'll tell you. So a lot of times people be like, oh, I don't want a niche or a niche. I don't want that because I'll be pigeonholing myself. And a lot of people get caught up in that. I think that the smaller you make it, the more you have this audience. And this audience is the ones that you want. And a lot of brands, as you continue to just grow and things like that, these brands actually are looking for targeted audiences at times. And if you're just catering to everybody, a lot of times brands can't differentiate, or even your audience can't differentiate you from everybody else. And so one person, example, is Gabby Beckford here in the front row. She has Gen Z travel, and for me, I'm Chubby Diary, so it's all plus size travel. I have been able to grow because, or I get to shift through the noise because I'm one of the only people talking about plus size travel. And a lot of people that are in the travel space, from what I've been seeing, have been like, and please, if this is you, please don't take offense to it, but it's just solo travel. They be like, oh, I'm a solo travel female. And that's a lot of people. You feel me? How do people differentiate you from every other solo travel female? So you got to figure it out. My cousin helped me out with this. She's a PR person. She does branding. She helped me get to the point of recognizing my marketplace and understanding my audience. One of the biggest things to help find your niche is actually just be you. Like with Gabby, she's a Gen Zer. That was easy. With me, I'm fat and black. I can talk about being fat and black easily. And I'm giving my experience of being a fat black guy, you know? So that's, I didn't think hard. I just went in and figured out who am I. And I'm a fat black guy, so that's how I did it. So become the big fish in your small pond. There's only a few, at that time, there were only a few people talking about plus size travel. So I told myself, I was like, man, I only got like 3 people to like actually go up against in a sense. And I was like, well, guess what? I'm gonna try to be the big fish in this small pond. So that's what you do. Riches are in the niches. This is my boy, Nomadic Matt. He always told me that this is a business. And y'all have to continue to realize that what you're doing now is a business. I remember going to lunch with Matt, or we went to brunch down in Austin, and he started just talking to me. A couple of things that he talked about was, Jeff, you need to be everywhere. You need, like, so if you're plus size travel, you need to get on all the plus size travel or all the plus size, like, fashion magazines. You need to reach out to them. You need to get on podcasts where people are talking about body positivity. You need to try to work with travel or plus size or big and tall brands, and just so that your name and everything is getting out there. The biggest battle that young entrepreneurs or brands face is obscurity. People just don't know who we are. And it's your job to put yourself out there so that people can. And a lot of times people get really disappointed when they do a blog post or put a thing out on Instagram or TikTok and it only gets 2 views. For a long time, it was just my mama that was liking all my posts and reading them, you know? But guess what? That's because nobody knew I had Chubby Diaries. You know, you have to put it out there. You have to keep going. And a lot of times, and I'll say this, and it's from that book, 10X Rule again, is that he says that it takes on average 4 months of consistent posting just for people to just start recognizing you. So always think about that. Try to be everywhere. You want to be omnipresent. And then Matt always talked about create your own product. For me right now, that's why we're switching up with Chubby Diaries from being just a blog into, well, a blog can be your product, but I want to go further than that. But that's why we're switching it up to be more of a traditional publication. Have your own products, because Instagram, Facebook, or Meta, whatever it is, TikTok, that's somebody else's product, you know? And if they all went away, what do you have to show? So always remember, you want to try to find your own product and then become people's favorite, or just become people's travel person. That was one of the biggest things that I learned from Matt in business, is that, like, as you go to conferences, you shouldn't go to all travel conferences. You should diversify your conferences. Go to a conference that's on tech, and you can be the travel person at the tech conference, you know? And so that's one thing that I feel like has been very quintessential to me growing my business, is being able to go and become people's travel guy. So like when people are thinking like, oh man, like I need somewhere to go, and these are like some successful entrepreneurs, they'd be like, you know what, Jeff will help me. So that's how I've been able to branch out and been able to network very well. This is my girl, Kiki. Do y'all know the blonde abroad? So she was here back in 2018 and 2019 for TravelCon. And she started talking about, and I've never seen anybody do this, she put up her numbers. She started talking about her finances. And I was like, what? So learn the money game. One of the biggest things she talked about at TravelCon was when she put those numbers up. That's when I actually started realizing, I was like, oh, there's money out here to be made. The first year, 2018, she put up her stats, and she made $750,000 that year. And she was like, y'all, I'm on track to do $1 million next year. So she was like, come back next year to see if I make it. 2019, guess what? She made it. So that opened my brain to thinking like, yo, there's money out there for us to make. And think about it, I forgot his name, was it Jeff Goins? Today, he talked about like we don't have to starve. There's a lot of money out there to make. So there's a lot of money out there. Learn your multiple streams of income. I actually have multiple ways I make money. I make money through TikTok, it ain't much. I make money through Instagram, it ain't much. My biggest stuff right now, my biggest source of revenue right now is this big project I'm working on, and then also just my partnerships with different travel brands or just different brands in general. And then know your value more than just your worth. Like a lot of people are always out there, know your worth, know your worth. But nah, you should know your value. People, when I talk to people, I'm telling them, like, let me show you my value. This is who I am. This is what I've been able to do. It's not more so the worth, it's the value that you bring. So always learn the money game because it's a lot. My friend earlier was telling me, she was like, Jeff, I just like that you talk about money. A lot of times money is very taboo. And a lot of times we don't talk to each other about it, especially when yesterday with Sierra. Hey, Sierra, she was over there, the question about how do we know if we're charging too little and things like that. A lot of times I have groups that I'm in, and me and with other travel brand or travel content creators, we actually ask each other, yo, how much you charge when you work with them? And so we got a better option to know how much I should be charging. And so I can tell y'all right now, a lot of these brands got money. Don't let them fool you. And once again, if you weren't at Hey Sierra's thing, don't give your rate sheet. Just give your media kit with all your analytics on it. Keep the rate sheet to yourself because you could be shooting yourself in the foot. So my girl Evie, Evita Robinson, she's the founder of No Madness Tribe. She's an incredible person. The thing that I've learned from her is how to build your team. One of the questions that I ask all the time is, what is the biggest mistakes or situations people wish they did earlier in their career? She said the same exact thing that I've heard multiple people say. Honestly, it's the number one answer. They always say, I wish I hired people earlier. And I was like, okay, I was like, there's a theme here. And I remember when Evie was talking to me about it, she really went into details with it. So one thing I learned from Evie is that you need a team. You having a team can actually free up space for you to do other things. And I know a lot of y'all in here like, well, I ain't got money. So I'll explain some of that in a second. So one of the biggest things that you want to do, and I'll skip before I go to that one, is you might, and how I started, so with my friend Tani, I really couldn't pay her much 2 years ago. But I could pay her for 5 hours a week at $15. 5 hours a week, she started answering my emails. She helped me with some of my appointments. And she freed up my space to be able to do a couple of other things so that I could just create. And so I had the money to do 5 hours. So I would tell y'all or suggest to y'all that you might not be able to do 20 or 40 hours a week, but you can start with 5. So try to figure out a way to start small and then scale up, because after a while, it'll just start coming in. And as they keep freeing up, now she almost works full time, but she doesn't. She's still part-time. And so, yeah, there's that. As you continue to grow, one of the biggest things I've been learning when it comes down to hiring a team is that you want to create another you. And what I mean by create another you is, I'm Jeff. If Jeff hurts himself, Jeff can't run the business as well because everything is on me right now. And so that's why as you continue to grow, you want to be able to hire another you. Another you can be the person that handles, and that's why like with my new business or the way that we're going with the blog is to be able to run Chubby Diaries if I'm not around. And so that's what we're doing. So as you continue to grow, aspire to be able to create another you that can be able to do the same stuff you do so that your business can continue to grow even if you're not there. The next one is promote yourself. It's my girl, Onika Raymond. Do y'all know Onika? Yeah, I love her the most. No, I'm not. I'm sorry. I don't know why I said that. No, I do love her, though. I don't know why I said that at all. But because I love all of people, because there's 2 other people in here that I'm going to talk about. So I love y'all the most, too. So promote yourself. This was one of the cringiest things I heard anybody say from a stage. And it was actually in 2018 at TravelCon when she was one of the keynote speakers that I found, like, she was like, you need to promote yourselves. And I was like, ew, that sounds icky. I was like, what do you mean by promote yourself? So self-promotion, and I'm going to be honest, this is one of the biggest things I've learned. Self-promotion has been one of the greatest things to happen for me in my business. Because if you're not promoting yourself, how would anybody get to know all the accomplishments you have been doing? How would they know who you even are if you don't self-promote? And there was this young lady named Shameless Maya. She became very shameless in her self-promotion. She said, every single day, I am going to, for a year, say one win that I have for that day. I'm going to self-promote myself in 1 year. She blew up. She became a millionaire overnight. And so the one thing I also learned from this was that, like, as you self-promote, you don't come off a lot of times as arrogant or boastful. People actually are like, man, I'm so glad to see your wins. Like, and that actually, like, tripped me out because, like, the more you promote yourself, people will start to promote you. And so that's why I always say self-promotion is great. Continue to do it because it's one of the most vital things you can do. I got my girl, Jessica Cerna, My Curly Adventures, right up here in the front row. So Jessica is the top travel influencer in Texas. This girl, if y'all aren't following My Curly Adventures, you need to follow My Curly Adventures. Her TikTok is just incredible. Her Instagram is incredible. I think what is like 400 and something thousand on Insta or TikTok and whatever on. Yeah, we can clap it up for her. One of the biggest things with like Jessica, she talks about consistency. And actually, even this week, we were over there talking like the first day we got here, and she just randomly started talking like, man, Jeff, I'm just like continue like trekking on to be consistent. And I was like, oh, are you now? She didn't even know that I was actually going to be talking about her and her consistency with Instagram and everything like that. So what does consistency do? It builds trust. It helps build discipline, and it helps you stand out from the crowd. Like literally, Jessica is everywhere in Texas. I call her Miss Texas, like for real, because she has been so consistent with her posts, and I think you're doing like 2 posts a day now on TikTok and in Instagram, and the growth that has come from being consistent has been incredible. I think, it was 13,000 last week or last month? She went up 13,000 followers, new followers last month, and it was like almost 30 this month. So it's crazy that when you're consistent, how much you grow. And for me, at the time, it was really hard to grow on Instagram. And so I was actually posting every single day for almost a month or for almost a year. And that's how I continue to grow. Now Instagram's on some other stuff. We're going to figure this thing out, y'all. We will. I know I ain't the only one who's having Instagram woes right now. So we got my girl, Glow. Her thing is create before you consume. Do y'all know Glow from Glow Graphics? Yeah, she's been a mentor, a friend of mine now. Me and Gabby was actually in her course. And I remember this is one thing that she talked about was that you should create before you consume. And the question is, why should you create first? A lot of times, people can get envious very quickly. Or we can get discouraged the moment we see other people's like post. Has that ever happened? Like you got on there like, man, I'm gonna wake up, I'm gonna post, and you get on Instagram, you start looking at other people's posts, and you never put that post out. So that's why we say create before you consume, because you need to stay in your creative space before you get inundated with other people's stuff. This has nothing to do with the create to consume almost, but it does in some ways. I remember talking to Glow, and I was like, hey, somebody started like a similar page to mine. And she was like, okay. And I was like, well, yeah, I wanted to be like unique in a way and blah, blah, blah. She said, let me tell you two things. One, she's been in the game for a while, that there's going to be a lot of other people that are going to do similar things to you. And so, with that being said, there is no one else like you. So your experiences or other people are not the same as other people's experiences. And she also said that a lot of these people, they might start, but they don't quit, or they give up, or they quit their account. Like they might be going in for like 2 months, and then it's over. So keep that in mind. Don't let that get you. And then one of my favorite things that Glow says as well is that encouragement and motivation is like a shower. You need one every day. So with that being said, I'm going to say that one more time. Encouragement and motivation is like a shower. You need one every day. When I realized that, like I have a lot of affluent friends now, we'll say. That's been a blessing. But the cool thing that I've learned from them, because I've been just studying them, is that none of them are supermen or superwomen. Like they actually like get discouraged just like you get discouraged. They might even have these like really nice, successful businesses, but they still get discouraged. And they don't have the willpower to actually motivate and encourage themselves. So they always are seeking motivation and encouragement every day. And so y'all should be doing the same, trying to figure out ways that you can seek out motivation and encouragement. And that's not going to come from you just consuming other people's stuff on Instagram. So keep that in mind, or on social media. Then I got my dog, Gabby Beckford from Pax Light right here in the front. The one thing I like about Gabby, I didn't want to say, I put simply as because it's really nice, but, and I don't know how to say this. Like, I feel like simply is just one thing, but like Gabby is more like, when it comes down to asking, because she's very tenacious. There we go. There's a good word for it. She's tenacious. She's consistent on her asking. The cool thing I love about her is that she's kind of taught me how to like ask the right questions. You should learn to ask the right questions. A lot of times, because she was a statistician, or still is a statistician, when you ask the right questions, you can get the right answers, or you can get the answers that you're looking for. So figure out when you're going to these brands, when you're talking to people or mentors, and you only have like 2 minutes with them, ask them the right questions. Learn how to ask that. Also, be intentional with your ask. A lot of times people will go, and even with me, they'll come up to me and be like, oh, yeah, and they'll just like beat around the bush for so long, and I'm just looking like, bro, go ahead and ask your question. What do you want to tell me? So be intentional on your ask, and then also just ask again. I forgot what this the stat is. It might be 60 or 70%. Don't judge me or don't quote me on this. But it's saying after you ask a question and they say no, 60 or 70%, I'm almost sure it's 70% of the time, people will come back and say yes. There's this thing about like, you giving people, or people having the control of saying no the first time and then coming back to it. So even when it comes down to travel brands, or you're trying to raise money to get from your audience or something like that so that you can put out a product or something like that, it's good to continue to ask over and over again. And a lot of times you just got to realize that the more consistent you are with your asking, the more times people will start saying yes. So it's a numbers game when it comes down to asking. Whew. So then, hold on. Yeah, it's the last one. So my last one is from our good friend, Monet Hambrick. She's over the Traveling Child. Have y'all heard of the Traveling Child? So don't compare, just keep going. Monet came down to Austin last year, August, and we like sat down and we were talking. And when I was talking to Monet, I was like, Bud, I was like, man, I just don't know. Like, I think I'm just like tired. I think I'm done like doing like all of this like Instagram stuff or just like being like an entrepreneur in a way. Like I might like switch it up. And I think the reason I was doing that was because I was comparing myself. And so Monet, the one thing that she talks about is people's wins today aren't your wins yet. Don't mean that they can't be your wins. You understand? So Monet broke down and said she was like, when I first started like doing this, I made no money the first year. The second year I might have made like $6,000 to $10,000. The third year I made $50,000. The fourth year I made over $100,000. The fifth and the sixth year, she's been in the six figures this whole time. I ain't gonna give you the number that she told me, but my mouth dropped when she told me how she made last year, and I was like, oh, okay. So, but it was beautiful to hear that. I needed to hear that because once I heard that for myself, and I stopped comparing myself, that like, man, this is a journey. There is a journey. I committed, so I need to stay committed because after a while, it'll come to you. I do want y'all to know, August of last year, I think I made $20,000 to $30,000. Before the year ended, I made over six figures. And once again, I was like, that conversation I was having with Monet, I was like, hey, y'all, I'm about to quit. And if it was not for her giving me that encouragement and telling me to keep going, I would not have made six figures. So I feel real silly in some ways. And the crazy thing is, I'll tell you this is a really cool win for me, is that before March came of this year, I made well over six figures before March. So thank you. And I'm not saying that to like boast, but I'm saying that to be like, bruh, keep dreaming, keep working towards this stuff, and stay persistent and persevere. Perseverance is key. Like literally, perseverance is the key to the game. You just gotta keep going. As I keep learning about entrepreneurs' journeys, you being persistent and persevering through all the ups and the downs. I love what people say that like this entrepreneurship journey is like a roller coaster, man. You have like all these like wins at the top, and then just as quick as you got the win, you go down to the bottom. And so as you keep going like this, or you keep going through, like the ride gets a little bit smoother. So these highs and these lows aren't as drastic, and you can continue to keep going. So that's all I have for that. Thank y'all so much. Bonus book list. The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. I feel like this is the #1 book that everybody in this room should read, because it's going to take you outside of yourself and have you dreaming big. It's going to have you, like to me, when I read this book, or I tell this to people all the time, is that y'all ever watch like Marvel's like X-Men or Flash, and like he can run really fast, and like when he's running fast, everybody else is like moving in slow motion. So you can just like see around everybody, and you can just like, you're doing your thing, and you can just look at everybody, and everybody's in slow motion. And that's what I feel like happens with this book. Like the education, the things, the practices that I've used from this book alone have just like to excel me to great lengths. And so I love that book. Building a Story Brand. This is another book I always recommend. When you build a story brand by Donald Miller, it's talking about branding. Everyone in here is their own brand. You know, you have to build a brand. You have to be able to know how to tell your story. If you don't know how to tell your story, brands can't really work with you. Because a lot of times it's actually really easy to get more partnerships when you actually can convey a story to the people that you're trying to partner with. Another book that I really love right now is called We Should All Be Millionaires. We should all in this room be millionaires, huh? Nah, that was I don't think half of y'all want to be millionaires. Let's try this again. We should all be millionaires, huh? Wouldn't that be amazing? Like, if you know your why of why you want to be a millionaire or what you can do with your $1 million, That is an incredible thing to know. And so I really do hope that like everyone in here wants to be a millionaire and should be a millionaire. And I remember hearing this thing from Damon John that said this. He said, I hope that everybody strives to be a millionaire. And I was like, when I first heard it, I was like, I'm all right. I don't think I want all that money. And I'm serious. I really was. I was a teacher. Teachers made $50,000 a year. So that was 20 years. It would take 20 years for me to make $1 million as a teacher. So to me, money wasn't like, But when he said that, he also then he continued saying that I don't want people to become millionaires for the monetary value. I want them to become millionaires because of the discipline that it takes to become a millionaire. And so when you think about athletes, you think about like successful entrepreneurs, all the things that they had to go through to become these millionaires. And a lot of some people are like, well, what about the heiress? Well, their parents or whoever worked really hard to become those millionaires or billionaires. So I always recommend that. Another book is the E-Myth book. This book, I would say read half of the book. The first half of the book is incredible because what it does is like the first half is really just talking about like the things that are going on in you and like in your mind about like, yeah, I'm happy about, I'm like really going for my dreams. But then there's that little voice that comes in to where like, no, you really have to do all of this stuff. And so he really does teach you how to get through that, and it's incredible. But then the rest of it's about like, with franchising. And if you want to get into franchising, keep doing it. But I read that book 3 times. That's why I can say read half of it because, yes. The other one is The Perfect Day to Boss Up, A Hustler's Guide to Beginning Your Empire. Rick Ross, Florida's finest. He's my spirit animal. So I'll never say anybody else other than like a person that can be my spirit animal. So Rick Ross is incredible. Like that book is just wow. Like it really opens up your eyes to like starting from nothing and making it into something. He really goes in some key things. It's incredible read. Y'all should read it. So let's get on to these questions. Do we have the microphone? I'm sorry, I went a little bit longer. Oh, thank you. Let me stop. Does anybody have any questions? And this is the moment where y'all can do this step-by-step kind of things.
Hello.
Hi.
First of all, yes, amazing talk. I'm so glad that I came to this one. Where do you go for your encouragement and your motivation? What do you do? What kind of Instagrams do you consume? What media do you consume? What do you do? Like not people. Like I have my support group. Yes, that's amazing. I'm sure you have yours. Everybody has their own. But like what kind of media do you consume for your encouragement and your motivation?
Well, yeah, so first, every single day, I do my devotional. So I get a lot of stuff. Jesus be popping. So I got to give him credit. So yeah, I do my devotionals first. And then I go into like my affirmations. I read off affirmations to myself every day. And these are like, you're great, you're loved, you're a successful businessman. You will have successful businesses. Blessings will come to you today. Goodness and mercy shall follow you. Like, so I do these affirmations. I say this stuff to myself every day. I even say it to myself multiple times in a day. And then I go through my goals. And one thing I didn't mention earlier is that like when you're dreaming big, these dreams should be big enough that one, they're so big they should be a little bit scary. And then they should also be so big that you get super excited to get out of bed to go actually achieve those dreams. And I read my goals off every single day. And one of the goals that I do is, or some of my goals are, I would like to be part owner of the Orlando Magic. Orlando Magic is my favorite team. I want to be part owner of that. So that's going to get me out of the bed because that's my team. And how crazy would it be for me to own part of the Orlando Magic? And then like one of my first money goals is I want to make $10,521,233.76. I want that in there. And then, like, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I want my own travel show one day. You know, like, how crazy would it be to have a travel show? Be up there with Steve Irwin and Anthony Bourdain and Samantha Brown, like all these great travel hosts, Kelly Edwards. Like, that would be incredible. And a lot of times, I didn't even think that for myself. So, like, these are the dreams that I get excited about and get excited about waking up to go try to achieve. And then my other thing is books. Books are, like, incredible. I read a lot of books. I never read books before, and I still don't really read. I listen to books. Come on. And I'll say this, too. Like, I was very, like, in my feelings or with pride when it came down to books because I would be like, oh, it's not, like, really reading because you're, like, doing it, like, audible. But I was like, you know what? No. I still am going to get this. I am still going to consume this information if it's me reading it or somebody reading it to me. And it always took me back to third grade when Mrs. Cox, when she read to me, it was my favorite thing to do. Like, I'll sit there and just listen. So that's why I like audiobooks. And I go through 30 to 60 books a year. So that's what I'm trying to get at. So it's really good to read and podcast. I love podcasts. How I Built This podcast is literally one of my favorite podcasts to read. And then The Breakfast Club, I'll be on it. Yes, ma'am?
Hello. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Well, first, my name is Lynn. I'm a makeup artist, content creator. I'm actually here with Terry Ijeoma. She is the CEO of Trade and Travel.
Come on, somebody.
So I'm introduced to you through her, and this is a very impactful engagement.
I like it. Thank you.
I kind of know the answer to what I'm asking you, but I still want to ask you. When you had that down time of only, 20% that you were earning, and you basically made a little bit at the beginning of that year, and then you made your bulk at the end. Where you were encouraging yourself, did you have your circle around you at that time? And do you feel that that was part of the reason why you weren't at your highest peak to even get there?
Good question. I would say that, like, I was grasping for straws in some ways. I was just trying to keep my head above water. And a lot of times there's so many, like, factors to why discouragement comes. A lot of times it comes from you just being fatigued. You're just tired. Like, somebody can talk to you all day long. You can read every book, do all your, like, affirmations and goals, and those still will, like, get you down. You can be with your team or your circle of friends, and that still doesn't get you. But it was Monet. Like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it was divine in a way that, like, she was there. It was at the right time that she spoke to me that actually kept me going. Like, I literally, like, I was trying everything, and it was only her that actually got me through it during that time. Because I have a lot of friends that I can, like, reach out to, and I did. But it wasn't until she spoke it or my heart was able to receive it. Maybe I got the rest that I needed because this is tiring. Like, this is tiresome. Like, I know a lot of y'all see me come out here and just like I talk to as many people as I can. That's a lot of work. And I know a lot of introverts in here that are like, I'll never do that. Like, he can have that one. Yeah. But I want to meet everybody because I like it. So yeah. Did that answer the question in a way?
Yeah, in a way. I just want to, I know the answer to it because if she never came into your life, it's a possibility that you could have been discouraged, but being that she did come, it helped motivate you for the peak time of your entrepreneurship journey. She encouraged you, helped you get out of that hole. So yes, you answered it.
No, and thank you. And every person that was on this screen got me to where I'm at right now. I'm friends with everybody that's on that screen. So can we give it up for them too? Like seriously, I would not be who I am right now if it wasn't for them. So find y'all people that can do that. Any more questions?
Hi, I'm Sumto, and yeah, loved your speech, so inspirational. My question is regarding asking the right questions. So you talked about how with all your mentors, you asked them, during their early career, what were the biggest mistakes that they made? So my question is for you is the same question. So what do you feel like was the biggest mistake you made, maybe in like the 2018 to 2019 period when you were first starting?
Before I go there, I don't look for mentors anymore. Like, and I'll tell you this because a lot of people do come to me and ask me to be their mentor in a way. Never ask anybody to be your mentor. I'm pretty sure, because a lot of times when you do that, you're like people get overwhelmed by your ask of being a mentor. So now there's a way of doing it now. So I'm just saying, don't ask them to be your mentor. Now, if they come to the conclusion of, hey, I want to mentor you, that's what you do. So even in asking the right questions, there's this thing, there was this article I read, and it's like the 10 killer questions to ask mentors to get them to become a mentor. So if you ask the right questions and you let them talk about themselves and things like that, like they actually be like, you know what, I like this. Let's keep meeting. And so that really does help. So I don't have mentors in the sense to where like I ask them, but I find a way to like get what I need. I would say that one of the biggest mistakes, other than just hiring a team and getting people in there, is me being like nervous or scared to actually spend money. Sometimes, man, you get that $10,000 like payment from like a brand partnership, and you're like, I don't know what to do with it. Like, should I just keep it or what? Like I got bills to pay, but like when it comes down to entrepreneurship, you got to spend money to make money. And I like what my mom told me. She told me that she was like, baby, you can't keep all the money. Like, you have to give some of it away. And so when I started realizing that, like, let your money work for you. So like even with my team, me paying them is actually making me even more money, you know? So I was like, it's worth the investment. Terry was just talking. Oh, and y'all, Terry is incredible. If y'all don't know who Terry is, y'all should know who Terry is. Like, literally, this woman literally has been one of the biggest inspirations to me. I met her at a conference back in 2019, and just to see her come up has just been incredible. Like, she talks about travel and trade. Y'all should definitely look her up because, like, she teaches people how to trade in the stock market so that they can actually go out and travel. And so it's really good. Her success has been incredible, and she's the #1 course on Teachable. And she's been the #1 course for the past 3 years. How crazy is that? That's amazing. Another question?
This walk of shame. I'm coming.
Social media. One of the things we hear right now is that not have one revenue stream. Make as many revenue streams as you can. 5, 6, 10, be on all the platforms. But being a new person, to be able to be successful on those platforms, you have to master those skills. So how do you balance needing to be in a lot of different types of revenue streams on different platforms and becoming masterful at those skills? How do you balance all that?
Say that one more time for me, I'm sorry.
Okay. You hear right now in a lot of things with social media, be on Instagram, be on TikTok, be on Facebook, be on blogs, and that's a lot for a new person to take on of how do I become masterful on Facebook, on blogging, on this. How did you figure out to do different platforms successfully enough that you could actually make those revenue streams actually work? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Well, one, I started learning a couple of things. And I'm going to actually go back to, I forgot, that's where my brain went. I was like, oh, I didn't even finish my thought there. But I'll get back to it. I had to learn. YouTube University, y'all, is the greatest free resource you can ever use. Like, literally, YouTube has everything. If you have a question, go to YouTube. Like, it is going to be there. I promise you that. I think there's so many different ways. I feel like the landscape has changed so much, but the one thing that has been consistent right now in the past year, 2 years, has been short form video. So to be honest, you can repurpose almost any of your content. Like if you did a TikTok, you can repurpose it to every one of your accounts. So that actually makes it a little bit easier. But you don't have to be masterful to put it out. And that's the one thing I think that a lot of people get caught up on. I always tell people I measure my success by progression. And so you want to be, instead of being perfect, you want perfection, or progress over perfection. Like, that's how I do it. And who is it? Is it Rachel Rogers? It says, oh no, it's not Rachel. It's someone that says, like, launch ugly. Danielle, it's Danielle. Yep, there we go. Yeah, it's Danielle. Like, Danielle Leslie says, launch ugly. Like, you might not have it all together, but just put it out there. And then after a while, you get used to it. After a while, you figure out your systems, and you can just go from there. And so, what was my thought? Ooh, yeah. So, yeah, not investing in yourself. Ooh, yeah. Even taking Glow's class. Glow's class cost $1,000 at the time. And I was like, oh, I ain't got $1,000. Oh, I don't know how I'm going to do this. And I remember, like, you know what? I'm going to suck this up, and I'm going to just go for it. And even with when it comes down to Terry's course, same thing. Like, you just have to, like, invest in yourself. You have to invest money so that you can actually make more money. Because even being in Glow's class, I made at least almost half of my money back while I was in the class. And then I made, yes, I don't even know the stats for that, but I made way more than that since the class. So, and that was one of my most valuable classes. And the other thing is with TravelCon, I don't know if anybody told y'all this yet, because I'm like the little folklore of TravelCon, is that I tried to come to TravelCon back in 2018, and I actually did not have the money. I was just broke. And it cost a lot of money, and I was like, I ain't got it. And one of my mentors was like, bro, just go for it. Like, just go pay for it. And so I committed, and when I finally committed 2 weeks before the conference, Matt put out TravelCon sold out. And I was like, dang. So I was like emailing Matt, like, bro, I want to go. And he was like, nah, cuz I can't help you. And so I was like, dang. So I was like, I'll volunteer. And nobody got back to me. So I told myself, I'm going to just come up there. And I was like saying I was going to sneak in. And that year of TravelCon, half of the room were blonde-headed white women. So I would stick out like a sore thumb. So I was like, sneaking in ain't going to work, guys. Let me figure something else out. And so I actually just went up to the desk and was like, hey, can I still buy a badge? Because I know somebody wasn't going to come. And so I ended up being able to, they was like, oh, for real? Like, you just, like, showed up? They thought that was so impressive, and I thought it was, too, a little bit, because I was nervous. Like, bro, I was shaking, like, going up to the desk, like, hey, y'all still got a badge? And I'm so glad I did that because I was actually able to get a badge. And so, yeah, and that's where TravelCon, like, actually changed my life. And I would not be where I'm at if it wasn't for TravelCon or for Mike Howard, who just walked in. You're amazing. Go ahead. Last question right here.
There you go. Uh-oh. Well, it might be a big one. And this is kind of a 101 question that may be obvious to a lot of you. When you do these big leaps in revenue, what is the source? I mean, I went into real estate to fund my travel habit because I couldn't imagine that I would have revenue from it. So I'm wondering, is it the advertisement, the brand partnerships, the followers? Can you walk on a really basic level what the sources of income are that have been big for you?
Well, the biggest one is brand partnerships for me right now. I think if you have a blog, because right now, like, the conference is still bloggers, but still a lot of influencers, so more so social media. You can make a lot of money from TikTok and Instagram if you're doing millions of views every day. I have a friend, he makes $200,000 a month from Facebook, but he's doing over like 200 million views a month from Facebook. So there's that. Not saying you can't do it though, you know? You actually could. And so AdSense, advertisement, like being in part of Mediavine, and like if your blog has the right amount of monthly viewerships, you actually can make more money that way. You can sell a course. You can do a lot of things. Like I'm trying to think of what's other stuff. Affiliates. There we go. You have your own product Jessica got some candles coming out soon, y'all, so y'all need to go and get your candles. Gabby got her little, not course, but like if you want to like get these scholarships and things like that, you can sign up for her program that she has. She has ebooks. Terry, she has the travel and trade. And you actually, this is a good one to get an affiliate link for because it pays out very well. So affiliate links, all that stuff helps. I just want to tell y'all, thank y'all so much again. I actually have my own course, and that's a great way to lead into it. So if we're going to dive, and this is going to be more of a 4-week intimate course. I have a wait list right now, so if you want to sign up for that, if that link doesn't work, let me know. I'll get all y'all information, or you can text me or email me at jeff@chubbydiaries.com. We'll be doing this during the summer. It'll be a 4-week course that we'll do on Sundays, but it's going to be great. I have this information, but a lot more, and I don't want to give out everything because we'll be here forever. And then at the end of this course, you will be able to practice pitching to other brands and hopefully even get some brand partnerships at the end of this course. So thank y'all again. Y'all are incredible.